Why did you go to Proxima B instead of Trappist in the first place?
Proxima B is closer. I'm a very impatient woman.
Welcome to San Diego Comic-Con 2024. I am here with the showrunners and EPs of ARC for Sci-Fi. First of all, guys, thank you for joining us. And season 2, we kicked it off with a bang. Dean, Kat's death in season 2, season 2's premiere came as a huge shock. Out of the characters that were injured in the explosion, why was her parting the show or parting the right choice?
Well, we knew that we couldn't have everyone survive because it was just way too big of a disaster at the end of the season, and we thought it would be a huge cheat if everybody survived. So there were, so we knew we had to take a few characters out, but it was probably the toughest decision we've ever had because Christina Wolf is a fantastic actor, and a terrific person. You know, we loved having her with us, but in the writers' room, as they were discussing where to go with the character, it kind of had run its course, and we were worried of it becoming, a joke each week, just the same joke. And so when making the decision, it was the character that they had the least ideas for, and so we made that decision. It was a tough decision, but I think it had real emotional resonance for the start of the season, and for several of the characters, because it sends them into different directions because of that.
Oh, interesting. Now, Christy, Garnett's tardigrade DNA played a major role in season 1.
Always does.
Yes. Have we learned the full extent of her abilities, or is there something that the show's going to continue to explore?
I hope the show continues to explore it. I think there's so much that we just don't know about that whole scientific aspect of her. I know that Jonathan Glasner took that from a random thesis essay that he had read and then was like, potentially this could come true, and then literally 2 years later it is coming true, which is just wild. And I'm pretty sure that he's a psychic, and I want him to give me some lotto numbers. But I hope that we get to learn more about her strength and that aspect of her. But I guess you'll have to tune in and find out. There's a lot of secrets and surprises that happen that I think people are going to be really shocked by.
Interesting. Now, Dean, Kelly's done some horrible things. And the last few episodes, though, I feel like there's more than meets the eye. What can you tease about where her character is headed this season?
Well, we're going to learn a lot about her backstory that we didn't know before. And while I don't think it will ever excuse her behavior, it will inform us about her behavior and how she got to be who she is. And she's going to have some big choices to make over the course of this season. And the choices may not be the ones you expect. So I think again, having her on board creates a moral dilemma. I think for Christie's character, we talked about this early in the season. At this point of the show, they don't know how many humans are alive in the universe. So despite the terrible behavior, Garnett doesn't want to lose any more humans, just simply because there's so few.
Right.
And so it creates, that whole character creates a lot of dilemma about dealing with crime and punishment, about dealing with empathy. So it's a great character to have.
Now, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I also think there's something really beautiful about Kelly and Garnett's relationship, which is Kelly really reminds Garnett of her sister, who was a clone, who was bred to be, as violent as possible. And I think we get to really see Garnett be the sister that we never got to see her be, which I think is something that's so genius with that Dean and Jonathan Glasner created with that relationship, that I'm excited for audiences to see that journey of the two of them, instead of fighting opposite of each other, potentially fighting together.
Interesting.
I'm so careful not to spoil anything because I feel like every plot is like
you literally just answered my next question, but I do want to talk about trust because he was introduced as a man of privilege and power. He spent the first season kind of displaying this entitlement. How will losing both his wife and Kat affect him?
Not well. Not well. He's kind of an unhinged character who I hope does the right thing. Him and Kelly have very similar storylines that I'm really excited for audiences to see a potential duo there. But I don't think he handles it well. He's kind of like a perpetuant little child that Garnett's always like, sit in the corner and be quiet. When you're needed, we'll come to you. Okay. Like he has a lot to make up for. You know, he blew up an entire planet.
Right. That's like.
Evelyn's bad, but so is Trust. So
Right?
it's kind of like, can we turn him
Sit on the
good?
naughty step after you blow up a planet.
Yeah.
Of course you do. Yeah, that's a given. I think
Yeah.
you got to do something. Now, in the last episode, Lane and Garnett had a conversation about their past relationship. Given the implications of that scene, what can you tease about where we're going next for their relationship?
Ooh, I don't know.
Is that the tease?
I think that's the tease. Let's just say they have a beautiful friendship that could potentially be on someone else.
Interesting. Now, do you guys have a favorite episode from this season that you're looking forward to for the fans to see the most?
Yeah.
Which episode?
It's hard because I had an answer right before you finished that, and then as soon as you finished it, I was like, oh, but this episode's also really good. Oh, but this one's also really good. I think what I've been loving about what Dean's been saying about this season is it's really entrenched in the old sci-fis that everyone loves.
Sure.
Like there's major sci-fi storylines that we have this season that I think audiences are going to be so excited for. It's really surprising, but for Garnett, my favorite episodes are probably 9 and 10.
Ooh.
But I love episode 4. So it's like and then I say episode 5 and 6 and 7, 8 and 9 and
Just watch the whole season.
Just watch the whole season.
So let me ask you guys both this: has there been a wild fan theory that's caught your eye, and what's the wildest fan theory you've read about the show?
You know, I don't really retain them, but I will tell you this. When you make a show, you put a lot of energy out. And it's very hard for the energy to come back in. But I get an enormous amount of joy being on social media while the shows are airing and seeing what everyone is guessing. And sometimes they guess it right, and sometimes they guess it wrong. And sometimes when they guess it wrong, you're like, oh, maybe we should have done that. That's kind of cool. But it's just so rewarding, and the energy comes back to you when you see how engaged the fans are and how much ownership over the show they take. And I mean, honestly, that's kind of what Comic-Con is all about.
Absolutely. Dean, I do have one last question for you. What can you tease about the new season of Leverage Redemption?
Ooh. Bigger, wilder, crazier. And I'll just tease this. The finale is unlike any Leverage episode we've ever done before, and it opens the door for brand new kinds of Leverage episodes that we've never explored.
You heard it here first. Guys, thank you so much for joining us in our Screen Rant room and enjoy Comic-Con for the first time.
Thank you. I'm excited.
And walk that floor. Hopefully you guys buy something cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys so much for
Thanks
joining
so
us.
much.
Appreciate it.
I still don't know what the hell to do with you, Kelly. You remind me of my sister a little bit. I feel sorry for you, and I'm afraid of you.